Hi, in this lesson we will see how to optimize the campaign budgets based on the performance that we are getting. Before that, I need to explain you two concepts regarding the budget pacing. So those are overpacing and underpacing. What is overpacing and what is underpacing? Right. So let's say for a campaign you have assigned a budget of 100 rupees per day. Do you think the campaign will spend exactly 100 rupees for each day? In reality, it is not true. I have told you multiple times that Google will spend 2 times of the budget that you have given to the campaign based on the opportunities that it sees in the auction, right? So for a campaign, we have given a budget of 100 rupees, right? So one day it can spend around 150 rupees, or in another day it can spend less than what you have assigned. That is, let's assume it is 50 rupees, right? So when you spend more than the budget that you have assigned on a particular day, that is called overpacing. That means you are spending, your campaign is spending more than the budget that you have assigned it to spend, right? So, and in underpacing, the campaign will spend less than the budget that you have assigned to it, right? So let's say here the campaign budget is 100 rupees per day, and on a particular day if it spends 150 rupees, then it is overpacing, right? And if on another day if it has spent 50 rupees, then it is underpacing, right? I hope you have understood the concept of overpacing and underpacing. So this is very important, understanding of the pacing and how to do optimizations regarding the budget with respect to the performance we are receiving is very important. Okay, then how will you decide when to reduce the budget and when to increase the budget? For it, you need to check, or you need to observe the trend. You need to check what happened yesterday, what happened day before yesterday, what happened in last 3 to 4 days. Let's say yesterday it has spent more than 100 rupees. That means it has overpaced. Do you think immediately going into the campaigns and reducing the budget is the solution? No. Okay, it is not the solution. Sometimes it can spend higher and sometimes it can spend lower. Ups and downs will happen. You need to be worried only when the campaign is spending higher continuously, or you need to be worried only when the campaign is underpacing continuously. That is the reason why I have told you to check the trend for the last 3 to 4 days. Let's say for the last 3 to 4 days you are overpacing. That is the time when you have to consider reducing the budgets. Okay, and let's say for the last 3 to 4 days you have been continuously underpacing, and that is the time you need to consider to increase the budgets for the campaigns. Okay, so when you are overpacing, you cannot reduce the budgets randomly. You cannot simply go into the account and reduce the campaigns for whatever the campaign that you are seeing. You should also consider the performance of those campaigns. You need to reduce the budgets for non-performing campaigns. If any campaign, if you are seeing has less ROAS, then you should reduce the budget for that campaign. And if you see we are continuously underpacing, then you should increase the budgets for the campaigns that are performing good and that are meeting our ROAS targets. I hope you are getting the concepts. This is the one task which we should do every day to check whether we are meeting the spend and performance targets, right? So considering these spend and performance targets, there are 4 cases that helps us to make the decisions, right? So let's go to the pacing sheet. So this is the sheet that we have prepared in the previous lesson, right? This is the template, right? So let's first see what are the cases, and later we will come here and put our numbers. So these are the 4 cases where we can optimize the campaigns. Okay, so case 1 is how to optimize the campaigns when they are spending and simultaneously they are meeting the targets, right? And case 2 is our campaign is spending but we are not meeting the targets. In that case, how to optimize the campaigns, right? And third case is our campaign is not spending but it is meeting targets. In that case, how to optimize it, how to optimize the budgets, right? And the last case is our campaign is not spending and it is also not meeting the targets, right? So in this lesson we will see how to optimize the campaigns based on these 4 cases. Okay, before that let's add some numbers here. Okay, let's say on day 1 for Google search you have a budget. Before that, okay, so before that, what is the budget for these campaigns? So for Google search it is 89,600, right? And for Google shopping it is 38,400, and the total for the Google will be 1,28,000. For Bing it is 32,000, and the total budget that the client has provided is 1,60,000. The target ROAS that he said to us to meet is ROAS 4, right? And based on this budget, what is the normal budget or what is the actual budget the campaigns or the accounts needs to spend per day basis? So it is 3,200 for Google search. So I am not talking about the individual campaigns, I am talking about the overall segment. In a Google search you might have 10 campaigns, you might have 15 campaigns, but when combined those 15 campaigns should meet the daily target of 3,200, right? I hope you are getting me. And for Google shopping it is 1,371, and the total the Google should meet is 4,500, and for Bing it is 1,142, and the total spend that requires per day is 5,700, right? So let's add our numbers here. So let's say on first, okay, Google search campaigns, I am including all the campaigns. Okay, so actually it requires a spend of 3,200. Let's say on day 1 we have spent only 3,000 rupees, okay, and we have met a target of 9,000 rupees. So it is 3,000 and the revenue is 900, right? And for Google shopping, so the required is 1,300. Let's say the Google shopping campaigns has spent around 2,000 rupees on that particular day and able to generate a ROAS of 15,000, right? I am just giving the random numbers, make sure you give your original numbers, okay? And here the Bing has spent around, let's assume it has spent only 800 rupees and it is able to generate a revenue of 5,000, okay? So this is on day 1. So when the day 1 numbers has entered here, you see here you can observe what is the MTD cost, right? And the budget remaining, what is the budget remaining, and what is the current rate. You can also observe what is the remaining budget per day, right? Now that means from the day 2 onwards you need to spend only 3,000 rupees for Google search, and when it comes to Google shopping you need to spend 1,300 rupees, right? And total it should be 4,000, and for the Bing you need to spend 1,100 rupees, right? Let's say on the second day you have spent around 5,000 rupees, right? And you are able to generate only 2,000 rupees as revenue, okay? And the fourth day, I mean on for Google search you are spent around 600 rupees, right? And you are able to generate only, let's take as 8,000 rupees, right? It is a good ROAS. And let's say for Bing on that particular day you have spent 3,000 rupees, right? And you are able to generate only 2,000 rupees. So let's format these ones, okay, before going forward. So let's adjust these numbers to 2 decimals, okay? So formatting is very important, okay? And let's adjust it, yeah, nice. And let's adjust here as well, super, right? So now let's see the numbers, what is the budget that we need to spend from day 3. So from day 3 for Google search we need to spend 2,900, and for Google shopping we need to spend 1,200, right? And for Bing we need to spend only 1,000 rupees. Let's say for the next coming days, okay, So there is one more thing that we need to consider. Okay, so we have to also change the numbers here, right? We have to also change the numbers. So that means we have done the wrong things here. So let's start from the beginning again. So my only intention of telling you this lesson is to make sure that you understand each and every concept clearly. Okay, so days so far, first thing here, there is no days, right? It is 0. That means let's assume today is the day 1. Okay, so what is the budget that we need to spend from day 1? For Google search it is 2900, for Google shopping it is 1280, and for Bing it is 1000 rupees, right? So let's do it. Okay, here what happened, yeah, I have entered these numbers randomly, days in the current month and days remaining. Nice. So this I am entering the manually, days so far. Okay, I am not using any formula here. If you want, you can also use the formula. Okay, and just let's say here on the first day we have spent around 3000 rupees, and on the revenue let's say it is 5000 rupees, and here Google shopping let's say it is 1500 rupees, and here we are able to generate 9000 revenue, right? And for Bing we are able to spend around only 600 rupees, and the revenue we have generated is 9000 rupees. Okay, so now let's see from the day 2 what is the amount that we need to spend. So we have successfully completed day 1 here, right? So here you enter, we have completed 1 day, right? So you see the numbers are populated again. So here what you have to observe, what is the remaining budget that you need to spend for the next coming days, right? So from day 2 onwards you should be able to spend only 2900 rupees for Google search, and for shopping it is 1200, right? And for Bing it is 1000, right? Let's do the numbers again. So let's say on the day 2 you have spent 6000 rupees. Okay, and the revenue you have generated is 18000 rupees, right? And for Google shopping you have spent 5000 rupees, and for revenue you have generated only 3000 rupees, right? And the spend for Bing, let's assume you have spent 2000 rupees on this day and you are able to generate 20000 rupees, right? So now let's see the numbers. You see here Google search budget required per day has dropped to 2700, because here continuously we have overpaced, right? It has to adjust for the next coming days. That means based on the actual spend that has happened for the current date, you need to decide what is the spend or what is the budget the campaigns has to spend on a daily basis for the rest of the month, right? That is the budget pacing. Okay, so here Google shopping it is 1000, and for Bing it is again 1000 here, right? So let's say we have given the formula correctly only, right? Yeah, and yes, it is 2000 only. So here for Bing it is, the spend is 1013, right? Nice. So here we have completed 2 days, right? When you complete 2 days, make sure you enter 2 here. Okay, so from the day 3 onwards, what is the budget that you need to spend? You need to spend 2800 in Google search, 1139 in Google shopping, and 1050 in Bing, right? Again let's do the numbers. Again let's assume that you are continuously overpacing for the next 5 days. Okay, so let's say here it is again 6000, let's take it as 7000, and here you have generated a revenue of 60000 rupees. Okay, and the spend for Google shopping is around let's take it as 5000 only. Okay, let's take it as 5134, 5123, right? And for the Bing spend, let's take it as 5647, right? So in the revenue you can take it as 8000, like this. And for the Google shopping revenue you can consider as 79178, like this, right? I am just giving the random numbers. Okay, and for the day 4 it is, let's take 1539. Okay, and for revenue let's assume you have got only 5,000 rupees, and here it is 2356, okay, and revenue is 647, like this, okay. I'm just giving the random numbers again, okay, and like this. And for the day 5 as well, we have a spend of, let's say, 9876, okay, and let's say here 2586, and the revenue you have generated is very good here. Let's say here the shopping campaigns, it has generated 30,000 rupees, like this. And for Bing, it has spent, let's say it has spent 3,245, and the revenue it has generated is 8,000, okay, like this. So we have completed 5 days. Let's assume that you have completed 5 days in the September month. So here you enter the 5, okay. Now see what is the budget you need to require to spend on a daily basis, right? Observe carefully. Google search requires 2,247 per day, and Google shopping requires 873, right? And Bing requires 740 you need to spend per day, right? So what has happened here? You are continuously overpacing for the last 3 to 4 days. Now it is a time you need to consider to reduce the budgets. How will you do it? That is the question mark, right? The case studies that I have told you before will help you in doing those optimizations, right? So for the campaign, let's assume that in the search campaign, okay, this is the search campaign, Google search campaign. So for Google search, if you observe, you are overpacing. That means you are spending, but you are not meeting the targets properly, right? So, and for Google shopping, you see, you are overpacing, and but you are meeting the targets here, right? And for Bing, what is the case? You are overpacing, but you are not meeting the targets. So these are the 2 cases that has come here, right? So now let's see how to optimize the campaigns based on the budget or based on the actual spends that are happening in the account and the performance that we are receiving from the campaigns, okay. So what is the case 1? Case 1 is campaign is spending and meeting the targets, okay. So in the first case, everything is good, right? Campaign is spending and meeting the targets. You can check the search impression share and look at the performance, okay. You can also check the columns search impression share loss due to budget and search impression share loss due to ad rank. If you feel like search impression share is losing due to budget, you can increase the budgets, okay. And if you feel like search impression share is lost due to ad rank, you can increase the bids for the keywords and ad groups. If you are using automated bidding strategies like TROS and TCPA, in that case what you can do, reducing the TROS slightly would not impact your performance. You can reduce the budgets. You know, when you reduce the budgets for the TROS, the algorithms will get relaxed and will try to experiment more. That will help for its learning, okay. So this is one optimization in the case 1, okay. If you are using manual bidding strategies, obviously you can do the bid modifiers here, right? But at a overall picture, you need not to do any kind of optimizations because you are spending and you are meeting the targets, right? Everything is good here. So in the second case, where campaign is spending and not meeting the targets, right? So what you have to do, you can reduce the budgets for the non-performing keywords if you are using manual CPC based on the analysis that you have done, right? And you can reduce the budgets for non-performing campaigns. I have told you, right? So here what we have tracking, here we are tracking the budgets, here we are tracking the spends at the overall search level. Let's say in the Google search we have 5 campaigns. Out of 5 campaigns, 3 campaigns are performing and 2 campaigns are not performing. So in the second case, what you will do, reduce the budgets for the non-performing campaigns, right? So for the rest of the 2 campaigns, you reduce the budgets, okay, so that the performing campaigns will be able to utilize the rest of the spend and will able to bring the targets that the client has given to you, okay. And next is the adjusting the targets if you are using smart bidding strategies. So we have discussed this, right? Also add negative keywords. So here what is happening, we are not meeting the targets, right? When you are not meeting the targets, that means that there is a possibility of you are getting a irrelevant traffic, right? So you have to analyze the search query report and you need to negate the queries that you are getting the clicks and you are not getting the conversions. In that way also you can reduce the spend, and you can reduce the spend, you can utilize that unused spend to the better performing campaigns. Okay, so and improving the ad copy. Okay, so there might be some chances, people are clicking on our ad but they are not converting, so you need to improve them. The ad copy should appeal to the audiences so that when they click on our ad they have to get converted. You need to prepare the ad copies in such way. Okay, you can include the promo codes for making the audiences to convert with you, right? And next is the bid modifiers. Obviously if you are using manual bidding strategy, you can implement the bid modifiers, right? And in the case 3 where campaign is not spending and meeting the target, so here you can check the performance of the search impression share. In this case, if the search impression share is more than 90%, that means that campaign is performing at its full potential and it is in the saturation state. Even if you increase budgets, there is not going to be much change. Okay, please understand this. Next is the settings. You can audit the campaign settings and ad group settings. You can review them and check whether any of the setting is limiting the traffic to your campaign or not, right? And next you can add new keywords and you can check the performance of those new keywords on a regular basis, because here we are meeting the targets but we are not making the spend. So in order to make the spend, either you can increase the budgets if there is any search impression share is lost due to budget, or you can add the new keywords, right? Adding the new keywords will also make the campaign to spend, right? But the problem is when you add the new keywords, you have to be very cautious about the performance. You need to review the performance of those keywords on a regular basis, because simultaneously we also have to meet the target of the client, right? We need to balance both. We need to spend and we need to meet the targets. Both things should happen simultaneously, right? So make sure you monitor the performance of the newly added keywords. Okay, and next is the adjusting targets if you are using smart bidding strategies. Let's say you are using TROAS. In this case, you can reduce the TROAS slightly. Okay, or if you are using TCPA, you can increase the TCPA slightly. Okay, so because when you decrease the TROAS, the campaign, the algorithms will be able to spend more, and when you increase the TCPA also, the algorithms will be able to spend more, right? I hope you are getting the logics as well. I am not going to explain you what is TCPA and what is TROAS here. I suggest you to watch the previous lessons if you are getting confused when it comes to the TCPA and TROAS, right? So, but this is the picture of how you can do the optimizations if the campaign is not spending and if the campaign is meeting the targets. Okay, and the final case is campaign is not spending and it is not meeting the targets. In this case, what happens? You need to check whether we have set up the campaign properly or not. Okay, so campaign is not spending means we need to also check if there are any technical errors, that is if there are any billing issues that has happened in the account, if there are any disapprovals that has happened at the keywords or ads. You need to also check whether you have added the proper keywords that are having a good search volume or not. Okay, so these are the 4 cases that will help you in optimizing the campaigns when handling the accounts. Okay, so I hope you have understood this lesson. I suggest you to watch this lesson once again. Okay, so this is one important lesson when monitoring the campaign's performance, right? So I hope this lesson will benefit you. We will meet in the next one.